Okay, this is Guns, Knives, and Watches, early morning. We're going to talk about some knives, and this is my knife gripe. This is a PLSK one from the Pathfinder store, and this is a Mora Black. If you sit there, you're going to look at these things up on video or on their spec sheet, go wherever you want to and get the specifications of it. It would seem as though there's an 1.25 inch difference between the length of these blades, because this is listed as being a 5.5 inch knife and this is listed as being a 4.25. Well, in reality, that's a lie. Now, I love my PLSK one. If anyone knows, I don't have one PLSK one, I have two. This PLSK one, which I don't know how it got on the table, but I've made this video a couple times, is the one that I haven't used much. You can tell by the dryness of the handle. This PLSK one is the one that I've used quite a bit, because you can tell, because it's just oily, man. It's just got my oil all over it, because I'm an oily person. Anyway, let's get the correct knife out. Now, these knives are both really good knives. I recommend both of them. I'm not harassing anyone or anything, but I just want to tell you basically a few things about them. This is the PLSK one from the Pathfinder store. Now, this is the Blind Horse Knives version. I have satin finish on the actual flats, and then a more polished surface on the blade. Now, I have done those. These are all custom surfaces, and because I sharpen my knives and I modify my knives quite heavily. And you can also tell that this Mora Black, the black coating has been basically sharpened off of its that there scanty grind, boy. And I'm going to say it's scanty because I just like saying scanty. It's a Scandinavian grind, but I really dislike people correcting my English or any other language that I speak. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine. I think words are basically useless. I can tell more about you by reading you. Your actions. People most of the time lie with words. Actions don't lie. People can't lie with their actions. Very few people can, but you usually have to be trained to do it. Everyone knows how to lie with words. Now, let's get back to the knives. Both of them are really good knives. The PLSK one comes with a Kydex sheath and leather. It comes with that there ferrocerium rod, man. It's a ferro rod, dude. And of course, taking the handle off, wrapped it with Gorilla Tape, and then done my little paracord thing with that there Hebo, which is a hair bow, wrapped over that. When yours malfunctions, just wrap in a Hebo. My leather on all my all of my leather I carry out in the field, I treat with Ovenoff's heavy duty LP. I'll treat my couch and my leather chairs in my living room. But I digress. The Mora, of course, comes with a plastic sheath like this, and I've modified this because it didn't have good retention. I heated it up with a heat gun, compressed it, and now we have good retention. And if you go back to my video as to why I bought the Pathfinder store's Kydex sheath, which was an utter failure on their part, because the gentleman who built it didn't understand the engineering of where to place the lock and how the lock is supposed to work. I'll go back over that real quick. A lock on a Kydex sheath is supposed to lock the knife. When you pull the knife out, that right there, it's supposed to grab it. To grab it, it has to keep the Kydex that is posterior to the front of the blade from expanding out. So that means this has to slide up past that point right there, man, and that locks the blade in. Goes down, Kydex expands, knife comes out. Now, of course, I've modified this PLSK one quite a bit. I have corrected their grinding errors right here, and I'll show you on a knife that I haven't done that much modification, but that's a pretty finished edge there. I've done it on both sides. I have rounded these corners right here. I've rounded that corner right there, and also going back to the handle, just to make it more convenient for me, but also so that it didn't chew up the Kydex sheath, which it was showing signs of that. Now this knife has been sharpened and loved on a little bit, so I'm not going to be able to give you the best representation of that. But the way in which you buy this knife, usually that is your finish right there. And then you can see that possibly on both sides, but as I said, I have done some work on this knife, trying to fix some of the problems and trying to basically smooth out this edge and get a polished edge on it, because this has a what they call a Scandivex grind, which is a Scandi grind, and then you convex the actual edge of it with a polishing wheel, with whatever, but it basically creates a different profile on the blade. And I know this is a boring video, but this is my knife gripe video, so I'm going to gripe a little bit more. This is supposed to be a 4 1/4, this is supposed to be a 5 1/2. When we measure the Mora, let's make sure we're on 0. We're going to come back, we're going to keep this in inches because this is America, man. We'll come back, hit the tip of that, man. Gonna come back, go, yeah, boy. This thing's 4.3, which probably means that was probably my error. 4 1/4. Maybe a little bit over, but that's probably my error. Now let's do the same error on this one, and we are going to go from 4 1/4, and we are going to go all the way up to 5 inches. This is no more a 5 1/4 inch or 5 1/2 inch blade knife than you know, dogs land on the moon. This is a 5 inch knife. The extra 1/2 inch that you're going to get basically is measured somewhere over in here. The useful blade part of this blade stops right here. If they chose to cut the candle back, that was their choice. It's not mine. This is not a 5 1/2 inch blade. It's a 5 inch blade. Everyone that keeps stating that this is a 5 1/2 inch blade, I hate to sit there and say this. Tell me a useful reason for having that blade, that 1/2 inch there, without a handle, and I will be more than happy to retract this video. This is a 4 1/4 inch blade, and it really comes out to be 4 1/4. So, as we've seen, the specifications on these two knives would basically indicate that there is an 1.25 inch difference in the length, and there's not. I'm sorry about the glare on the blades, but that's just the way it is, man. There's guns and knives and washes. And these are just some of my knife gripes. And this is why I try to stay out of so much the specifications of products, because what the manufacturer or the people trying to sell it, and this is my problem with the Pathfinder store, it's not that they sell inadequate products, because the vast majority of the products they sell are very good. I really do enjoy these Pathfinder bottles. They're shorter than the whatever the hell those other bottles are that everybody uses. They're short enough. They're 32 fluid ounces. They're the correct size for the water treatment tablets, if you're going to treat it that way, or the drops. Everything's measured out for some reason in 32 fluid ounces, just out of convention. And they have a wide mouth. They have a lot of good things going for them. The problem is the fact that how can you honestly review something or talk about this, that, or the other when you're selling it? you cease to become of a really good and objective reviewer when you're selling the stuff out of your store. You know, we all know I've had problem with the Mora Black sheath. I've had problems with their pots. I've had problems with a few other products that they've made, and I have made no no gripes about their claims versus what they actually deliver. And I'm not going to now either. This should be 1.25 inches difference between these effective blades. There's not. There's 3/4 of an inch. This is Guns, Knives, and Watches. Peace out.